Selfishness is the highest vibration is the title of today's video. Selfishness is the highest vibration. As you're coming in, please go ahead and like the video. Let me know if you're here. If you have any questions, drop them into the chat or the comments, because as I'm going through, I'm going to be answering some of those. But the reason why I'm making today's video is that this right here is arguably the biggest limitation that impedes people's ability to become really good manifestors. And it's this idea of selfishness. So we really need to talk about this. So has it ever bothered you that selfish people often get what they want? Or do you feel bothered at times that you have to put aside your needs so that other people come before you? Well, what if I told you that being selfish is actually a virtue? It's actually a good thing. And being selfish is actually what helps you create a very positive reality for yourself and for other people. So you actually can reap the benefits of being a selfish person, knowing that you're actually still a good person and you're actually still having a positive impact. Well, if that appeals to you, definitely pay attention to today's video. Grab a pen and something to write with if you want, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? If you guys can hear me, oh, you're already telling me that you can. This is good. You can hear me on YouTube. Thank you, Jess. Mary, you can't? Mary, let me know if you can hear me. Sherilyn can hear me on Facebook. Wonderful. But yeah, let me know if you guys can hear audio. Instagram, can you hear me? Let me know. Fancy81 says yes. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's get going. All right, so today we're talking about selfishness, and that selfishness is the highest vibration. Now, this again is arguably the biggest limitation that's going to get in your way of being a really good manifester if you don't have this one ironed out. So the first thing we got to talk about is why you have this belief structure that selfishness is bad in the first place, okay? Because this can help you understand why it's faulty. Here's the thing to understand. If you're not creating the reality that you want, if there are doors shutting in your face, or if you're not getting the things that you want, or you're not feeling like you're in the flow, or you're dealing with a lot of anxiety or stress, you have got to question anything that you've been believing your whole life. The things that you've been believing your whole life are where the biggest places of improvement will be found. And so a lot of people balk at this one. When I tell people to be selfish or to be self-interested or to put themselves ahead of others, that really rubs up against people the wrong way. And the reason why is that this is a limitation that pretty much all of you have been taught from the time that you were very young. You were taught to be selfless. You were taught to wait your turn. You were taught that your needs came second. And so this was a belief structure that was taught to you by parents who wanted you to behave. It was taught to you by teachers who wanted you to stay in your seat and listen to what they had to say. It was taught to you even by your friends who wanted you to give them their toys, give them your toys and let them play with your stuff instead of you being able to play with your own stuff. And so this was a message that most of you had reinforced over and over and over again, that it is good for you to come second, okay? It is good for other people to come ahead of yourself. That's something that a lot of you guys have been taught. And so the thing that we have to understand is that this is faulty. You have to question why you were taught this. Because the reason why you were taught this is that the people around you were disempowered at the time they were sharing that message with you. That's why somebody will tell you to be selfless, is because they themselves in that moment are disempowered Think about it. Somebody who is empowered and who is manifesting on a very high level does not need anyone to cooperate with them. They do not need anyone to sit and listen to them. They do not need anyone to agree with them because they're on such a high level that they're simply manifesting what they want, irrespective of what's going on with other people. So the people who told you to wait in line and to hold your tongue and to come second were teaching you that from a place of disempowerment. That's why being selfless is a disempowered state. I hope that makes sense. You really have to call that into question. So every time you start feeling bad for putting yourself first, you got to remember that the whole reason that you believe that that's a good thing in the first place is because somebody who was not in their powerful state told it to you. And you do not want to be taking lessons from people who are in disempowered states. But you were really young when you learned that one, okay? So it stuck. All right, so that's why this idea that selfishness is bad originated. But again, this one's so important. Until you get this one turned around, you're gonna have a very hard time manifesting the things that you want. So we gotta talk about that. But first, let's jump through and say hi to a few of you, see how you're doing. Oh, real quick, I got a super here. Thank you, Happy Daisy. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hello to Abundant Queen, Luis, Picket Music, Peace is here, Rainbow Traveling Yogi's here, Mary's here. Hopefully Mary can hear me. Nice to see you guys. Who else we got here? Jess is here, Snow Sparkle's here, Natalie's here, Kelly G's here, Cheryl Ann is here, Dominique is here. Nice to see all of you. Very good. Okay, Nate's here. Nice to see you guys. And again, if you guys have questions as we're going through, feel free to go ahead and drop them into the chat because we'll be answering some of these as we go along. And real quick, before I forget, I did put something at the top of the chat on YouTube. If you're on Facebook or on Instagram, I'll mention it real quick. I have a sale coming up next month, not right now, next month. It's on all of my biggest abundance packages. And so this is the lowest price of the year on all of the abundance packages. So it's actually the biggest sale of the year, period, because a lot of programs go on sale with this one. And so it's going to be from May 15th to May 22nd. So if there's any of the abundance courses or packages that you've been looking at that you'd like to get, make sure to stay tuned for that because it will be the lowest prices that you can get on them, and they only go on sale once a year. If you would like to get notifications when that sale goes live, along with the coupon code so that you can get all those programs for half off, make sure to go ahead and click the link in the description on Facebook and on YouTube. There's a QR code. On Instagram, I think I forgot to put that link in my link tree. So if you're interested, come back and look at my link tree and my bio a little bit later because I'll drop that up there. But go ahead and sign up for that so that you get all of that stuff sent to you if you're interested in getting those courses for their lowest price of the year. And thank you, Adita, for the super. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hope I said your name right. All right, let's take that down. Here we go. All right, guys. Again, today we're talking about selfishness is the highest vibration. And I'm making that, I want to make that very clear. It's not that it's okay to be selfish. It's literally the most critical thing you need to do. Put yourself first all the time. Very, very important. And when you are in the highest vibrational state, that's what you're doing. But there's a flawed belief structure that says that doing that is bad, or that doing that is wrong, or that people who are selfish are somehow doing everybody else a disservice, which they are not. So we need to talk a little bit about this because I want to make sure that all of you feel comfortable putting yourselves first, because until you do this, you're not going to be manifesting reality the way that you really want to be. Okay. So let's talk on why it's the highest vibration. Because you have to understand this. When you're being selfish and putting yourself first, you are always in alignment. Because what you're doing moment to moment to moment is you're doing what makes you feel the best. And with the law of attraction, when you're in a high vibration, you attract wanted results. So somebody who is highly selfish and self-interested, all that really means is they don't care what you're doing or you're doing or you're doing. They don't care about that. They are staying perfectly attuned to what they need to do moment to moment to moment to put themselves in the highest possible state. That's what it means. Now, a high vibration means you feel good. A high vibration means that you have a positive sense of self. And so somebody who is doing that, being selfish moment to moment to moment, is putting themselves literally in the highest vibration. And that's what's so funny about this topic, because there's so much content out there about being a high vibration, being a high vibration, being a high vibration. Yet at the same time, most people still believe that they have to be selfless and put themselves second. Those two things can't go together. You literally have to put yourself first. Very, very important. All right, so here's something to understand. If you've been taught that being selfish is bad, there's a whole host of limitations that go along with that, such as, I'm not worthy to have what I want. My needs aren't important. I don't come first in my reality. When you don't allow yourself to be selfish, when you don't feel good about being selfish and putting yourself first, that's the message you're projecting on reality. I'm not worthy to have. I shouldn't come first. I'm not important. And because the law of attraction reflects back to you the things that you believe and you're projecting, you will align with a reality where you appear to not be very important. It appears that your needs are not that important. It appears that you're not worthy. You don't attract the kind of things that you want. In addition to that, because you don't come first, it means that you create this skewed reality where it appears like life is happening to you. You're not the one in charge, okay? Because you're not coming first. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that when you're selfish, it actually helps other people. This is the other thing to understand. Okay, a lot of people think if I'm going to be selfish, it means I come first and other people, they're going to get screwed over. No. When you're selfish, your vibration goes up. When your vibration goes up, you become a more positive influence on everyone around you. You get that? Because a high vibration rubs off on your reality. By contrast, if you choose to not be selfish and put yourself second, what will happen is you're going to start to feel disempowered. My needs aren't important. I'm not getting what I want. Your vibration lowers. And now all the people that you're around are impacted negatively by your low vibration. Do you see that? So putting yourself second actually comes at a detriment to everyone else. This is a very important thing to understand, because I want you to feel empowered to put yourself first, knowing that when you put yourself first, it doesn't just make your reality better, it actually helps everybody else. Very important thing to understand. Okay? Haven't answered any questions yet. I should do that real quick. Oh, we got another super here. Thank you, Eva. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. Like I said, I'm going to answer some. Been yakking for a minute. Let me get to some of these here. TLC 2741 asks, Metaphysics Question. If my reality is a reflection of my state of mind, beliefs, and mood, is anyone else real? I know they are, but the thought is freaking me out. Is this about higher dimensional physics? Ooh, right out of the gate with the big ones, right? Reality is, nothing's really real if we're going to talk about it that way, because everything is a projection of consciousness. So the way that I like to explain it, and I'm not sure if everyone's going to hear this or not, and that's okay. The universe is infinite, but the infinite is one thing. Okay, the one is the all is the one. It's a very spiritual, higher mind kind of concept. Okay, so when we talk about the one or the all, a lot of times people would say God or the universe. Okay, the infinite mind, what label you want to put on it. Okay, that's the all, that's the isness. Okay, but it's being projected down and fragmented into individual consciousnesses. Okay. So you are the higher mind having the TLC 2741 experience, okay? I am the higher mind having the Andrea Schulman experience. And we're all talking to each other as if we're different entities and beings, but we're all kind of the same. Hope that makes sense. But it doesn't have to still manifest a great life and have fun. So if contemplating that is frustrating, you certainly don't have to. I know it's not for everybody. Thank you, Kelly G, for the compliment. That's so sweet. I appreciate you. Ooh, that's an interesting question. Ken, is it a good manifesting technique to give an ultimatum to the universe? I would say for the most part, that one's likely going to backfire. Because when we have to force something or we have to make it happen, that implies resistance. So I would say it's a lot easier to ask for something and to ask for it in its best timing or for that or something better. Be asking for things to work out to the best possible way rather than try to force them into position. Because here's another thing to understand. We are often bound. We are bound by our limitations. So feeling like selfishness is bad is a limitation. But a lot of us have a lot of limitations. So when we ask for something, we're asking from a limited perspective. And the way we think is the best for it to come is only scratching the surface of how good it could get. So it actually benefits you more to leave open the when, where, why, and how of how it happens to divine timing. And what I mean by that is just tossing out your desire, asking for it and saying, however best this is going to come, this is what I want. I want it to come at the perfect time. I trust that it will. Now I'm not in there trying to force it and being resistant. Okay. Now, sometimes you may be in a very high vibration. If you're like on top of the world in that pinnacle state, you guys may have experienced this before, where you're flying really high. And when you're in that state, it's pretty easy to say, put that there, I want this, and things will snap into place because you're already in that really high vibration. So you can do that, but only if you're already in that really high. And if you're in that really high place, things are working out anyways. Hope that answers that question. All right. Again, guys, today we are talking about be selfish. We got another super here. Thank you, Sven LaRose. Get by giving, selfish service. Mention, please. Yes, the more you give, the more you get. What you put out comes back to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, so we've talked about why selfishness is the highest vibration. And we've talked about, why you may not be like in alignment with the idea of being selfless. Let's talk now on how to become more selfish. Oh, you know what? I want to mention this. Why selfishness bothers us and other people. I want to clarify this. So I did mention at the beginning of the video, if you see somebody else doing something that is selfish, it will often rub people the wrong way. And so I want to talk about why this happens. Like if someone's truly in a high vibration when they're kind of doing their own thing, why does it bother me and impact me in a negative way when I see somebody doing that? If they are in a higher vibration and I'm having it's not helping me experience, it feels like it's not helping me, what's going on there? Okay. Because this is something I noticed as I have intentionally become a selfish person. Okay. I have intentionally become a selfish person. Like many of you, I was raised in an environment where I was taught that my needs come second. And so when I was a young adult and before that, I held my tongue a lot. I would wait for everybody else to agree. I would watch my words. I wouldn't ask for the things that I wanted because I had been taught that being selfish was bad. And so this was a dynamic that I saw for myself that used to drive me bananas. And as I've become a selfish person, it doesn't bother me anymore. And so I want to share this with you because if any of you guys are feeling hangups about being selfish because you don't want to be perceived in a negative way, this should be helpful. Okay. So I'm just going to give an example. This was something I used to struggle with a lot when I was younger. Is if I was in line somewhere and somebody cut the line, I would get infuriated. Now, I wouldn't say anything to them. I wouldn't tell them, get to the back of the line. I wouldn't do anything like that, but I would be infuriated. This person's being so selfish. They don't care about anybody else. I'm doing the right thing. I got to wait longer. And it would drive me completely bananas. Okay. And so I remember this one time specifically, I was at a 7-Eleven. Okay. I was a 7-Eleven. There was two lines in front of two different registers. And so it wasn't very clear, where the line actually was because there was like two lines. And one guy, maybe he knew, maybe he didn't, but he just rushed to the front and cut some people off. And everyone's sitting there like, what's this guy doing? And I remember being seething mad of how selfish this guy was. But I didn't say anything about it. And I didn't do anything about it. But to me in that moment, that reinforced to me the idea that selfishness is bad. Now, between then and another event, I learned about the law of attraction. And I started to learn and understand that you have to stay in alignment moment to moment to moment. So what this means is that you have to put yourself first. You have to be a little bit selfish. And so I started to learn this lesson about selfishness. A few years later, my family and I had gone to Disney World, and my husband and I were waiting in line to get ice cream. And there was like this little kiosk that they were selling ice cream. We were waiting for ice cream with the kids. And my kids were little, so I had one of them in a stroller and one of them screaming, and it was just craziness. But this guy, same thing, gets right in front of me and cuts the line. Now, old me would have done nothing and would have sat there seething mad and seething angry. But I had been practicing the idea of putting my needs first and saying what I believed, saying what I thought, and asking for what I wanted. So it was the very first time in my life, I actually tapped this guy on the shoulder and I'm like, excuse me, there's a line. And he goes, oh, okay. He smiled, sorry, and walked to the back of the line. And in that moment, a very important lesson got reinforced in my mind, which was that the only reason I had a problem with people being selfish like that was because they were putting their needs first and I wasn't putting my needs in first. But even if somebody else does something that puts you at a supposed disadvantage, when you are okay with having your own needs going first, you will still win. You will advocate for yourself. You will take what you want. You will not be disempowered. And actually, it's a very interesting thing because I tell this guy there's a line. He moves to the back of the line. Now the other people in line with me are happy with me. And they're not so angry with him because he was being polite. And it was a lesson to everybody in put yourself first. Do you see how that works? Okay. The reason why we get frustrated with people who are being selfish is that it's a reminder that we're not putting ourselves first. That's the only reason we get mad at people who are being selfish. So when you understand that you can put yourself first, somebody else being selfish doesn't matter. They put themselves first. Well, that's okay. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to put myself first and I'm still going to win. So now that I'm a very selfish person, I am selfish. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. If I don't want to go somewhere, I don't want to do it. You guys may see this with the lives. Like I'm supposed to be here Thursdays and Sundays. Sometimes I'm not feeling it and I don't come. It's nothing about you guys that I don't like to be there, but in the moment, I'm being selfish. But the more selfish I become, now I don't have a problem with other people putting themselves first. I'm doing what I've got to do. They are doing what they've got to do. You see how that works? Okay, so I wanted to point out that story because I remember and identify very clearly that I used to get very frustrated with selfish people. But the more selfish you become, the more those people are not going to bother you at all. If anything, they're going to allow you to step further and further into your own power. Oh, we got another super here. Where'd it go? Higher self's got a question here. Hi, Andrea. I know I've asked this question before, but how to stay in the high vibration when your husband kills your vibration with the lack mindset and thinking? Like I said, I manifest money all the time. This past week, I manifested $39,600. Well, I guess he's helping you then, right? What's the problem? Okay. With this, I mean, I know what my traditional advice is for husbands being lack mindset. But to take it a step further, like if you're becoming a more abundant person and having a more abundant mindset, the more you see people around you chattering about lack, the more it reinforces in your own mind the power of abundant thinking, right? I'm sure some of you guys have seen this. Like, the more you guys start thinking in, you can have what you want, you can have more, you can attract. When you hear other people talking about, oh, these bills and we don't have money and there's not enough, as your mindset shifts, you look at that and you're like, what nonsense? It causes you to reinforce your own abundant thinking more. And I think what you've got going on right here is a very good example of that. Husband is saying some low vibrational nonsense about money, and it's reminding me how nonsensical that is and that there really is a lot of abundance. And because in that moment, I'm practicing more abundant thinking, I'm lining up with bigger and bigger amounts. So thank you, husband. Thank you. You get it? You don't need him to change. He doesn't need to change. And I want to clarify something. When we're talking about being selfish and specific, this is one of the abstract ways that selfishness does come in. Don't need anyone to agree with you. Don't need anyone to believe in the law of attraction. Don't need your husband to do X, Y, Z. You do what you need to do. You believe what you need to believe. Being truly selfish and self-interested is about really staying centered in the present moment with yourself. So no matter what the peanut gallery is doing, it doesn't matter, okay? Because you've got a good thing going on here. What I would not like to see is for us to be labeling what husband is doing as wrong or as faulty. Instead, he can do whatever he wants. He can be selfish in his lack thinking all he wants. I'm going to be selfish in my abundant thinking. Now we don't have any resistance. We don't need him to change. And what I always say, and you guys know this, when you don't need people to change, they change. When you don't need people to agree, they agree. That's the real trick. A lot of you guys know I used to be a high school teacher. That's big for discipline. If you are trying to have classroom management or you're trying to get children to comply with you, that's one of the big things. If you need those kids to behave, they're going to be acting a fool the whole class period. Okay? But if instead, I'm going to do what I'm doing, and I don't need them to change, whatever's going on is fine, and I'm staying centered and I'm staying selfish, now they align with me in that higher state. Hope that makes sense. 40 grand. Nice job. Nice job. Stephanie, tips on how to manifest in a few days. Decide you don't need it. That's the fastest way to do it. If you need it to come, it becomes resistant. So when people want to manifest on a deadline, the way that you actually want to flip it is that you don't care if it comes. And if it misses the deadline, great, because I got other things that are going to work out for me. That's the trick. Now, when I tell people that, what they often hear is, if I tell the universe it's okay if it comes late, then it's going to come late. No. If you tell the universe it's okay if it comes late, what you're saying is, I'm detached from the outcome. I don't care anymore. And when you don't care anymore, you become in a higher vibrational state. When you're in a higher vibrational state, you align with your preferences. So even though you're okay if it comes later, who cares? Your preference is for it to come now. That's why things snap into focus the minute you let them go. Okay, so I would be thinking about, why is it okay if it comes late? How is it going to be beneficial if it doesn't work out? How am I still winning? So that you don't need it to come in a few days. That's the fastest way to do it at any time. Good question. Eva, you had a question in the comment of the super chat. Let me take a look. I didn't see it, sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay. Is that you? Hold on. Please see my question in the comment of the super chat. You added it first. Eva, I don't see a question. I don't see. Does anybody see Eva's question? I don't see it. If you want to type it in again and put some exclamations on it or something so I see it, I'll answer it, okay? But I don't see it. I'm sorry. All I saw was this is all I'm seeing. Okay? That's all I'm seeing. The question underneath you is coming from somebody else, it looks like. So go ahead and type it in and make it obvious, and Mary can highlight it or something. Hopefully I can get to it. All right, Dominique's got a question here. Dominique, thank you for the super. Dominique asks, I have recently manifested moving to my ideal home, but at the same time, I seem to have manifested a lack of money, which has spoiled my enjoyment of my house. Any ideas as to why this has happened? Yeah, I would go I would assume, could be wrong. I would assume what may have happened is that when you move homes, there's often a lot of expenses, right? So you buy a house and, okay, I was ready for that. But then I had to buy stuff to decorate the bathroom, and I had to buy new trash cans, and I had to start some new services. So, and I know, 'cause I've moved houses so many times that when you move, there's a lot of expenses that kind of pop up. And a lot of times they feel almost unexpected because they're things that you weren't really thinking about. And so what can happen is that a lot of times people get stressed when there's unexpected expenses. I feel like money's being taken. There's more money than I want to spend. And they get kind of upset about that process, even if it's kind of unconscious, upset about all of these unexpected expenses. Okay. So when we have that reaction to a situation like that, we go into lack mentality. I don't want to spend on the bath mats. I don't want to spend on the trash cans. I don't want to spend on the services. Okay. And what that does is it slows the flow of money. So, and it's okay because you can ramp it back up, all right? But you guys always, whenever there are unexpected expenses, that's a time to practice your abundance. I've got money to spend on this. Glad I got money for these trash cans. I've got money for these bath mats. I'm glad I'm abundant enough to start this service. And so as you're spending, you're practicing an abundant mindset. Okay, so next time you go through that situation, understand it's a great time to practice abundance. Unexpected expenses, in my opinion, are the best time to practice your abundance, because if you can be okay with spending money, you can be okay with letting go of it, that's a sign to the universe that this is no big deal to me. I've got more than enough. This is a drop in the bucket, okay? And you'll ramp up money coming in quicker. Excellent question. Okay. Again, we are talking about selfishness is the highest vibration. Not just a high vibration, the highest vibration. Okay. And so let's talk a little bit about how you can become more selfish. Okay. I want you guys to become more selfish. There's a bridge these days. Okay. I like this concept because it's a bridge. It's a bridge, and it's interesting that it's come into the collective consciousness at this time. And so instead of labeling it as selfishness, what can be helpful to do is label it as boundaries. Boundaries. So you hear people talking about boundaries all the time now. So this is a concept that, from the mental health, psychological world, that it's important that you have boundaries. Boundaries are being selfish. It's about knowing what you want to do, what's important for you, and putting yourself first. But boundaries has a positive label on it. So if you feel a little skewed about being selfish, like, oh, I'm going to go hang out by myself and ignore my husband for a while and I'm being selfish, you can relabel it as I'm going to go do some stuff for me because this is a good boundary for me to have with my time. Boundaries is a great way to label selfishness. Another thing is, instead of labeling it as selfishness, label it as vibrational work. It's vibrational work. Okay. So I'm raising my vibration rather than I'm being selfish. And truthfully, when you're intentionally raising your vibration, you are being selfish. You're focusing entirely in on yourself and what you need to do to be at the highest level. So I mentioned a little story about Disney World not that long ago on the live. And there's another little story from Disney World, and it's about the same time period that I was learning this selfishness thing. This was something that I noticed that I was doing at Disney World as well, that appeared very selfish. And I kind of felt bad about it at the time, but now I see why it was important that I was doing that. So because we were at a theme park, I'm dragging kids around with me. It can become overwhelming. Sometimes you get stressed out when you're dragging kids around a theme park, okay? And so I had this kind of process that I would use, which is that if I could tell I was getting overwhelmed, I'd tell my husband, okay, I'm gonna take a quick break if you wanna go take the kids on a ride. And I would go sit on a park bench and I would plug in some earbuds and I would listen to some nice music, or I'd watch funny cat videos or something like that. And I was being totally selfish because I wasn't attending to the children and I wasn't attending to my husband. I was attending to myself. But the reason why I was doing it was because when I was dealing with them, I could tell that my vibration was dipping. I was getting frustrated, and then the kids were getting more frustrated, and then the lines were long and the weather was bad, and it was just this snowstorm of crud that was occurring because I was in a bad vibration. So what I was doing at the park was I was being selfish. I was taking time for myself to raise my vibration back. And the reason why I was doing it was because I knew if I got my vibration up and I rejoined my family, it would be going much smoother. And so I started to notice that being selfish is actually about raising your vibration. It's actually not a bad thing at all, because when you're following your own, what you need to do to be in your highest vibration, you restructure reality where everybody's benefited. Me taking that time on the park bench and then coming back had a much more profound impact on the quality of that experience for my husband and my children than me hanging in there and getting frustrated. Okay? Very important thing to understand. So if the idea of being selfish makes you feel bad, label it as I have healthy boundaries, or label it as I'm doing vibrational work. I'm raising my vibration, because that essentially means the same thing. It's just that the word selfishness has a very negative connotation. Okay, so if you need to shift it over to a different way of talking about it, you can absolutely do that. Ideally, you get to the point where you realize that selfishness is good. Okay, but if you need a way to bridge that gap, those are the two methods that I do recommend. The Modern Cubist on Instagram says, everything is a game of illusion. If we are not selfish and get more rewards, we will stay in level 1, or worse, get run over by a goblin. Yes. So that's a kind of a play on the video game idea. Sometimes I talk about how reality is like a video game. Okay, it really is. When you're playing a video game, you got to worry about number 1. You got to worry about the character. You got to worry about advancing the character through the game. And if you don't, you get stuck on a level, right? This is what happens. People get stuck on one area in life. They can't get out of it, or they start attracting problems in the game. Very, very true. Pop K39, this is funny because now I realize that my ex didn't want me to be selfish and let him do all the work. Yeah, so who's being selfish? I'm bad for being selfish because I'm doing what I want to be doing and keeping my vibration high, Abraham Hicks is the one that says that I'm being selfish because I'm putting myself first, but you're not being selfish because you want me to put yourself ahead of me. You get it? X should be able to put himself first. You can put yourself first. It's not mutually exclusive. This is the lack mindset game that's going on here. People think that if I win, somebody else loses. No, you can both put yourself first. Okay? But don't need other people to do what you want them to do. Just put yourself first. They have the opportunity to do the same. Hope that makes sense. Luis got another super here. Thank you, Luis. Appreciate you. Quite a complex subject. I myself have been working on that for years. Injustice triggers me big time. If it's out of ignorance, okay. But if instead it's like, oh, there's a line, I don't care, I'm in a rush, and a confrontation starts, what would you do? Excellent question. I was hoping someone was going to bring up something to this effect, because that's why I brought up that scenario. Because in that scenario, if somebody's cutting in front of you and they're being selfish, how is that good? Okay. Here's the thing to understand. We don't know why anybody does anything. Okay, so when you're having this kind of a feeling about what somebody's doing and labeling it as wrong, what's going on is in your mind, you have decided that they have a negative reason for doing it. Okay, so I don't know why this guy cut in front of me in front of 7-Eleven, but in my mind, I'm thinking, he's being inconsiderate. He's being rude. This is intentionally trying to screw people over. Okay. It doesn't have to be that reason, though. There are an infinite number of reasons why that may have occurred, and some of them may be ones that you actually would be quite all right with. What if his wife was giving labor in his car and he had to hurry up and buy a gallon of water and get it over there for some reason? Would you be okay with him cutting in front of you and not asking for permission? Probably, okay? What if, he just didn't see it? He had no idea, or maybe he's on some crazy medication his doctor gave him, and he just wandered to the front and was oblivious. Okay. What if he has some kind of psychological problem and doesn't, is schizophrenic, or he has some unable way to interpret reality? This is my point. You don't know why the person jumped in front of you. Here's why, though. Okay. Why they did it is because they were a match to you worrying about it in the first place. So when I got into line, when I was in line at the 7-Eleven, I was a little stressed out. And I was feeling probably like my needs didn't come first. And so I aligned with a character who put me second. You get it? So it's not about what they're doing. They lined up with me. So the pathway out of that is that I become selfish. I put myself first. And now the cast of characters around me will work in harmony with me to make sure that I'm able to navigate reality in a pleasant way. So it's a very funny thing. I don't have a problem now with calling people out at lines if someone hops in front of me. So I don't really attract it anymore. You get it? So it's not about their intention. It's about where was I that somebody hopped in front of me. Hope that makes sense. And by the way, that's a really great trick. I talk about this sometimes. It's a really great trick to get like tailgaters off of you. This is another problem I used to have. If you're driving like on the highway or on a road and someone's like right behind you driving you berserk, have you ever had that experience? Well, that can be a very frustrating experience. So someone's right behind you and you start to get stressed out. Now you're resistant to that other driver. So they stay right there. And in your mind, you're thinking, this guy's so irresponsible. He's so rude. What an a-hole. And you're automatically making an assumption that this is a bad person. And so they continue to behave badly and continue to tail you. So what you can do in a situation like that is you can start to hypothesize what's going on with that person that would make that behavior okay with me. Okay, so maybe he's got diarrhea right now and he's really trying to get home fast. Maybe his kids are screaming at him. Maybe he just lost his job and he's really angry. And I start to think about all these possible reasons that evoke empathy for me and assuming that he's not a bad person, just something's going on I don't understand. When you do that, it's remarkable because the tailgater will just immediately pull off, or they'll even do something nice. Like sometimes they'll get around or they'll wave at you. Like it's a very interesting thing that happens. Okay, so that's another thing. We don't want to assume we know why any of these people are doing what they're doing. It's not important. What's important is that I tend to my vibration. Good question. Okay. Oh yeah, if you haven't done this business yet, if you haven't yet, it's pretty late in this video for this, please make sure to subscribe. If you have not subscribed yet to me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook and Instagram if you haven't yet. I do lives like this usually twice a week, unless I'm being selfish and I'd rather be sitting by the pool. But usually I'm here on Thursdays and Sundays. If you go ahead and sign up for the notifications on YouTube specifically, it'll notify you when I go live, even if I'm running late or go on a different day. So please make sure to do that. And if you haven't yet, a lot of you have, but if you haven't yet, please make sure to take my manifesting test. It is free and it's only 5 minutes. So if you want to know for sure that you are the creator of your reality and that what's going on up here is what's being drawn into your world, I have a very simple and quick 5-minute test where you can put something out and watch it come back so you know for sure that you are the creator of your reality. You can take that test at manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. There will be links in the description on YouTube and on Facebook. On Instagram, you can find the link in the link tree on my bio, but manifestingtest.com is the direct link. Did Eva ever ask the question? I'm just remembering real quick. Not seeing it. Take a second here and look. There was Eva Eden. It's before yours, higher self? Okay. You asked one. Thanks for telling me. Where's higher selves? Oh, yeah, I mean, this is all I'm seeing. That one's before yours, higher self. Unless you asked a different question. Yeah, when you don't write the question with the super, it's kind of hard for me to find them. If I see them, I definitely will answer them though. Okay. Gilbert on Facebook asks, if you state affirmations but your mind doesn't believe it, should one person instead repeat just words like abundance, money, success, and then try to connect with that and then make affirmations? If your mind doesn't believe in it, it's better to use ask-formations, or it's better to put yourself in a more abundant environment. Okay, so if just saying I am wealthy, I am abundant makes you feel lackful, okay, and that can happen because if you don't feel abundant, saying I am abundant will make you feel, it'll actually reinforce feelings of lack. So what you want to do is you want to put yourself more in the resonance of believing in abundance. Okay, so a couple ways to do this is one, ask-formations, ASK. So instead of I am abundant, you would say something like, how am I abundant? How am I wealthy? Ask a question and then allow the answer to kind of come to you. Maybe you're abundant in health. Maybe you have some money in the bank. Maybe you have an investment over here. And think about all of the ways that you are abundant after asking the question, because what that will do is it will start to put you in resonance with the feeling of, oh, I do have some abundance, okay? And that will allow that to start to ramp up. The other really great way to speed up your abundance game, if you don't feel currently abundant, is to get around more money. So one thing, if you're on Instagram, you can see it. I always have money tacked up here. How much is there right now? I think it's $800. I must have taken 200 down. There used to be 1,000. But I'll do that. I'll have money kind of laying around. In my desk drawer is a mess. Okay, these are a bunch of singles, but I'll like go to the bank, I'll get a bunch of money, and I throw it in my, that's ridiculous, right? I've got a whole stack of cash sitting in this drawer. Why? Because every time I open it to get a pen, I see all kinds of money laying around, okay? This is a great thing to do for enhancing belief in abundance, is just get money around you. I also do recommend spend more time with people who are wealthier or who have more money than you, because you will start to adopt their way of thinking. It's kind of like an osmosis principle. Okay, so shop on the wealthy side of town, make friends with people who have a little bit more money than you. Just get around that. It will start to rub off on you so you believe it more. Once you believe it, you can say, I am abundant. Okay, here it is. Thank you. Kelly gave me the arrows. Look at you guys. Okay, everyone's like, she just didn't see it. Evas question. Finally, we got it. Eva, 4 months ago, my boyfriend betrayed me, lied to me, and ended our 2-year relationship over the phone. I'm okay with the end of the relationship, but still suffer from this treatment. Any advice to get over the pain? Okay. So in a situation like this, we want to kind of redefine what happened, and we want to come to see it as it serving us rather than it not serving us. Okay? So he betrayed you, lied over the phone, and ended your 2-year relationship over the phone. You're okay with the end of the relationship, but you still suffer from the treatment. Okay, well, first of all, he did you a service, okay? He helped you out, because if you are with somebody who treated you like this, you can get somebody much better, but only if this one goes away. Okay, so him exiting actually puts you in alignment to be open to receiving a better relationship. Right now, you're open to receiving something much better. If you hadn't have found out about this, you'd still be stuck to him. Another thing is, it really sucks when people do things, they end it in a very harsh way. However, if it ends in a very harsh way, it's actually kind of easier to get over. Why? Well, he was such a jerk. I really don't want to be with someone like that. If it had been kind of questionable bad behavior, if he had apologized a lot or ended on a soft note, it would have been harder for you to detach from that relationship. You see that? Now, it's not to say that what he did didn't have an impact on you, but it is causing you to be open to something better. And it is also highlighting to you what you want in a relationship. It is helping you understand your worth more. I don't want to be treated like that. I should be treated much better. Do you understand? Okay. So when people act like fools, it actually puts you in resonance with understanding your power. I would say that the things and the people who have impacted me the most in a positive way are actually the people who treated me like the biggest crap, honestly. And some of you may understand what I'm talking about, because if you've been in a toxic environment, if you've had a toxic parent or a spouse or something like that, it highlights to you what you really deserve and what you really want. And you wouldn't really contemplate that unless that person had shown you all of that nonsense in the first place. Okay? So in a roundabout way, he's showing you your power. I hope that's helpful. Okay? He's helping you. He didn't hurt you. He helped you. Okay? And there's a better one coming. And you wouldn't be open to the better one coming if you were still stuck with this joker. Okay? You got this. Glad we got the question. Yeah, see, ASMR Tingle Pig says, sounds like Eva leveled up. Exactly. Oh, that's the other thing. You must have raised your vibration, Eva. Okay? When toxic people exit your life, it means they're no longer a match to you. If you're watching my content, I would go out on a limb and say that you're the kind of person who's working to shatter limiting beliefs and become more empowered. When you do that, people who are not in resonance fade out of your life. Okay, that's another thing. When people exit, especially if they're toxic people or people that were not good for you, it's a sign that vibrationally you leveled up. Thanks for bringing that up, ASMR Tingle Pink. Appreciate it. Got a lot of people trying to help out Eva on this one because we were waiting for answers. A denary, sorry. It also allows me to grow, becoming more powerful on the other side. Exactly. So they have that statement, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It sounds like you got to suffer to improve, and that's not true. But there is something really powerful about going through a struggle and coming out the other end and knowing your power. So I always talk about going to the gym. You get stronger when you go in and lift more weights. He was like, a really heavy deadlift, okay? That's what he was. Bully says, there's a reason why the saying, nice guys finish last. Okay, so that kind of brings us back to the original topic here on being selfish is the highest vibration. I like that you brought that up. Yeah, there is this statement about nice guys finish last. This is why, okay? If you're being a nice guy or you're being a nice girl and you're putting everybody first, of course you're going to finish last. That's vibrationally in resonance. So somebody who's always putting the needs of somebody else ahead of them, other people come first. I always come last. That does not mean, by the way, when I tell you guys to become selfish, that you need to be a jerk. That's not the point. The point is doing what makes you happy, only considering what you need, considering your beliefs and what's best for you moment to moment to moment, irrespective of what everyone else is doing. Okay? Very good. Snow Sparkle, F him. There's a nicer, hotter, richer guy. Nicer, hotter, and richer. Yes. Quick reminder, guys, again, if you have not yet, because I only mentioned it once, I do have a sale coming up next month. If you're interested in my abundance packages and courses, I have 6 of them, 6 of the big ones that are going on their lowest price of the year sale. So they only go on sale one time a year. If you're interested in getting the coupon code for that sale and updates when that sale goes live, make sure to sign up for the updates. Okay, so I do have links in the description of YouTube and of Facebook. On Instagram, there's no link yet, but if you check back soon, I'm going to put a link in the link tree in my bio where you can sign up to get those updates on that sale. So, it covers all different kinds of topics. So sometimes people write into me and they want to know how to make more money through their career. We got some stuff on that. Sometimes people call in and they want to know, how do I make money without a job? We got some stuff on that. A lot of times I get questions about how to get out of debt and stay out of debt. I've got a course on that. So there's lots of different courses for different things that are going on sale in relation to abundance. So check that out. Additionally, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. And we're coming to the end here. I do want to mention the next time that I'm going to be live will be on Thursday, unless I'm being selfish again, taking the day off. I do want to come back and talk though. So you will likely see me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube on Thursday at the same time, which is 11:30 Eastern, my time. So if you're around, come and join. I'd love to have you here. Thanks so much to everyone for all of your questions and your comments and your supers. Thanks to everyone who helped Eva out getting the answer to her question. I do appreciate it. All right, but I am going to look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.